the political economy of China. What Indian companies fear also is a very harsh environment, a very competitive marketplace. The domestic marketplace in China is pretty competitive. You have to really be niche, or you have to have very low cost of production or scale to manage the domestic competition in China. People don't realize that Chinese companies compete pretty hectically. And therefore, Indian companies are probably a little worried about the level of competition that goes on. The fourth issue, of course, is what I call the cultural challenge, the guangxi and all the things that are required to be able to deliver in China, to build relationships first and then business follows. I mean, that is something which the Indian companies have to learn. It's not just the language barrier, it is a cultural barrier. Talent is an issue in China, as the growth in China is so substantial. While China may have 1.2 billion people, the talent and the skill is still scarce. Everyone is fighting for the same skills, high turnover of staff, and therefore there is a real challenge of building your own talent and do it. And I want to hear some of that. I hope, Prakash, you can talk about it as you talk about your own business that you built there. There are also compliance challenges. The rules and regulations are pretty complicated. They keep changing, state by state, city by city. And if you have to really follow all the rules, you need to know exactly what you need to build. I remember when I first went to set up in China in 2000, we first created a compliance manual in Hangzhou. And that compliance manual, even the mayor's office took it because they also didn't know how many laws to be followed. And in fact, Financial Times did an article on that. So compliance is a challenge. Legal issues and the issue of IP protection. Very important, especially as the Indian companies have built a lot of IP in technology, in pharma, and some of the areas. And if you're not comfortable with the IP protection, having said that, over the 10 years, I have seen a huge change in the IP protection because China itself is becoming innovator and therefore are giving much more on the IP protection. And lastly, managing the PR and you're building your brand in China is not easy. It's a big country, it's got lots of brands. If you're trying to establish a brand, what do you do? So that's the challenges which the Indian companies have faced. So let me leave it here. Let me get Prakash to talk about an actual experience of NIIT.